The last time that I stood here in front of this car, I said that I didn't make a lot of videos with this RX7 because it didn't seem like you guys were that interested. Well, 250,000 views later, and it seems like you're speaking loud and clear. So let's make more content with the RX7. Normally when we film a build video, we keep it nice and tidy. We film with an objective, weight reduction, more horsepower, or styling, or the like. That's not what we're gonna do this time. Because this time, we have a lot of stuff to tackle. Which is why I'm gonna leave the car over here in the corner of the garage instead of on the lift like normal. Because we're gonna need the lift for other projects, and this project is gonna take months. So the first thing that we're gonna tackle is the exhaust manifold. This manifold actually has a crack in it, so we're gonna change it out for an RTEC manifold.
And if we're gonna change out the manifold, we might as well go ahead and change out the turbo because it's gonna have a different flange, and you know, it'll give it a little updated look.
Yeah, that's definitely an out-of-date turbo. And if we're gonna change out the turbo, we probably also wanna change the downpipe because the positioning of the turbo is gonna be in a different spot, so we'll have to change that out too.
And if we change out the downpipe, we might as well change out the intercooler piping because, like you said, the turbo is gonna be in a different position and we can make it look a little better.
Yeah, and if we change the intercooler piping, we might as well change the intercooler as well.
And if we change out the intercooler, we might as well change out the power steering pump.
And if we're gonna change out the power steering pump, the intercooler piping, the exhaust manifold, the exhaust downpipe, and the turbo, we might as well change the tune as well.
And if we're gonna change the tune, we might as well change out the ECU, get a more updated ECU. This one is kind of discontinued.
That is fair. If we're gonna change out the ECU, we might as well change the engine harness as well.
I mean, if we're gonna go ahead and change out the wiring harness for the engine bay, we might as well go with a PDM and replace all these fuse boxes and clean up the wiring and like make it look like really nice.
Some of these parts are being replaced because they're broken, like the exhaust manifold, but some of the parts are being changed out for a different setup. All of these parts are related to each other, so when you change one item, you've got to change them all. So it's going to be easiest to just pull everything out and start fresh. It'll take some time for the parts to come in that'll replace these parts, so progress on this car is gonna be slow. Mark, both of us, will be installing them as they come in, and we'll be releasing more content as they do.
Probably gonna have to change out this oil line as well. Probably gonna be routed different.
And you guys just did that one too.
And yeah, did this not too long ago.
Believe it or not, the turbo that I've been running on this car is an old journal bearing turbo, one of the many items that I'll be changing out for a huge upgrade on this car. The exhaust manifold is a welded tubular manifold with no turbo supports, so they have a tendency to crack if they're not supported or if they're not made cast.
Now to play catch, because this is heavy.
We'll be changing this out as well.
So that's the crack that Ben was talking about. It continues around, maybe about halfway across the entire thing. Anybody want any leads?
I've always thought the design of this intercooler made it look like it was installed crooked, since it has the end tanks on the top and the bottom. So we're gonna remove it and swap it out, one day. Hopefully I'll be able to figure something else out that fits better, like remaking this intercooler mounting bracket as well.
So the last thing we need to do is take out this radiator. We really enjoy PWR, so maybe we can go ahead and maybe we can get a radiator.
The factory radiator in an RX-7 comes tilted, but with the K-swap, a standard vertical radiator was used for more space. We'd love to make more room so that we could go back to a tilted setup, but there's a power steering pump in the way. I don't want to delete power steering, but thankfully it's not all or nothing. We have options. There's a company that makes an electric power steering that mounts on the column.
So I'm gonna be working on the steering column next, and the reason for that is so that we can get this thing shipped out and at least started on getting the modifications needed so that we can get electric power steering underneath the steering column. All right, so hopefully with that, I'm able to pull the column straight out whenever it's ready to actually get pulled. That's hopeful intuition. A lot of hope. In the words of Andrew, hope fades.
And so do the plastics on an RX7 interior.
No, they don't fade, they crack.
The new system involves a cut-up steering column with an electric power steering pump placed in between two pieces of the column.
Ta-da!
Before we can get the new kit, we have to send in the old column core first.
Everything's still okay. I did not do that. There was no broken pieces anywhere. And that's it. Easy as 1, 2, 3. I wonder if we can replace this piece. It's probably like $5 million or something.
The FD tax.
Yeah, the FD tax. There's a guy that took a electric power steering pump. I can't remember what model of vehicle it was. He essentially took that and modified it in a way so that it will, like, he'll cut this shaft, he'll mate it up. Like, everything is like a kind of like a plug and play system almost. And then he has also put it on a switch to where you can actually dial in how much resistance you want the motor to have. So the locking cylinder is the only thing that's left on this steering column. I got to make a notch where I guess this breakaway bolt would be, so that I can go ahead and twist that off and basically be able to reuse this for the next rack. All right, now that the lock cylinder is off, we can go ahead and ship this out. While we wait on the new steering column to arrive, like any true Italian, I was getting hungry for some pasta, and the spaghetti for the RX7 began calling my name. We won't need all these wires in the engine bay or under the dash when switching over to a PDM. So let's figure out this carb-loaded mess. I hate it when I get into like little predicaments where you think you found what you were looking for, and then all of a sudden you get more confused. I just got more confused. Let's see, how does that AC relay work? Yeah, pink and black through the relay, which I did confirm that. So green and orange, green and red. Green and red should be attached to it. You have a jumper harness, which shows here you have a jumper harness over to that slot there. We're not just pulling wires out the car. We have to make sure we map out what every wire is, where every wire goes, and what every wire does. Oh. Because if we're going to put a PDM in this car, we're gonna have to run all new wires. And to know where you're going, you gotta first know where you've been. I mean, if you're gonna do a big wiring job, it's nice to understand the system and how it works, especially in this case, we're trying to keep all the factory stuff, and it's kind of a nightmare. It's probably the most difficult thing that I've had to do. Electronic power steering. So I will be hopefully getting rid of that. It is a lot of wires. You think Ben would freak out if he came out here and saw this? I've probably been doing this for, realistically, about 3 or 4 days of just trying to identify and make sure that I understand how it works, why it works the way it works. Ben told you earlier that he wanted to take his time with the RX7, and he wasn't kidding. Roughly a month has gone by, and since then, I've done a bunch of digging into the RX7 schematics, and I have a ton of information in a spreadsheet that'll serve me best later on when we go and actually start wiring PDM. But for now, we have our first part. So we sent out the RX7 rack to E-Power Steering to have an electric motor fitted in between the steering column. And essentially, I guess they take different pieces off of your original steering column and they spline it together. So everything will be kind of like almost a plug and play situation. They have a computer that goes with it, your power wire, which they recommend going to your battery. You could actually call them and get different lengths that you need for your power and ground wires. We forgot to do that. So I'm gonna have to extend those wires, no big deal. So I'm gonna do it piece by piece. After it's all installed, I'll go ahead and start wiring everything up to where it needs to be. What's so great about this is it'll get rid of the actual hydraulic fluid. It'll get rid of that motor that's in the front. It'll clean up the engine bay a little bit more. This will be hidden, so you won't see it. So we're going for that clean look. I'm curious if there's other stuff that's in the way, which there's this box here. You son of a gun. Oh, stop moving, stop moving, stop moving. Oh my gosh. Crap, I can't get it out. There's just not enough room. Ow. Can I get the upper part, please? Why is this thing such a pain in my... Oh man, my arm's feeling like a little jello. So we are locked on right now. So I'm gonna take it a little nooner. Get up. Oh, and we're back. That was a little difficult trying to fit that motor up in there. But after taking out the SRS module, it gave me the room that I needed. I think at one point we would like to start this car. Probably should have put this on first. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna put everything, wiring wise. It'd be nice to figure out where I can put this next. Maybe there's something behind this panel. I'm not sure. Once I get that done, then I can start running all the power wires and everything like that, and maybe start taking some of the old power steering out. Okay, so this little dial here, you turn it all the way to left, and it essentially will turn off the electric assist. And then you can gradually increase it by turning it to the right. I don't think we'll ever need full power. If anything, it'll probably be down low, but we'll see. Whenever I can get this thing even powered up and the right length wire. I am taking the seat out. I want to see if I can route these wires because I want to put the right length into them since we didn't do that prior. I'd like to do that now if I can, without taking any of these plastics out. But I would like to test out the electric pump, see how that feels, give you guys feedback on, my findings with it. So I'd like to at least get that done. If not, yeah, trying to take out all this plastic stuff, well, it's an RX7, so there's gonna be multiple things that break. I'm wondering if I can maybe snake some sort of wire so I don't have to do all that, pulling all these panels off. I think it'll fit. Gentle, gentle, bang. Well, there goes 250 bucks. This is the area in which we're trying to go through. I just need to go from here all the way across to here would be nice, down here. Do you see it yet? Well, there goes 50 bucks. Like I said, everything on the RX7, fragile. And bada bing, bada boom. We got ourselves one wire done. Oh, I just gotta do the other one. I am ready to test this thing. Let me hook up short power. Oh yeah, forgot to energize the breaker. All right, breaker on. Huh? Why do we have like 0 power? Maybe it needs all of this. Oh, there it is. I need to turn this off. Don't worry, I'm just a big dummy. Yeah, there was a wire that I had left unplugged. Well, so far I haven't heard the relay. Well, I'm a big dummy. Okay. Mamma mia. I mean, I'm doing this with one finger. See what full power's about. Oh, dude. Dude, I mean, like, I'm not even trying. That is crazy. This is like legit. I can almost breathe on it and it's gonna turn. Yeah, shout out to E-Power Steering. This is pretty nice so far. I'm happy with it. All the accessories that go on the steering wheel are kind of in the way of your feet, so I probably should put that back on, and I guess while we're at it, probably should put the seat back in. Now I can go into the engine bay and start pulling out all that stuff that we don't need anymore. We can start removing all the, I guess, electrical lines, the hoses, the hydraulic pump itself, cleaning up the engine bay, and seeing what other parts that we need so that we can actually loop the lines properly. Mainly because we're not getting rid of the entire system itself. It still has power steering fluid on the inside of the steering rack itself. It's gonna give you some sort of resistance with the electric motor, and we kind of want to see that out before we go any further and possibly depower the rack itself. We don't want to go too far. We want to be able to feel it out, but we're not going to be able to feel it out for quite a while. All right, now that we got this looped, I can test it out real quick, make sure that it is sealed. So I'll go ahead and I'll turn the steering wheel, which will then move the fluid back and forth. Oh, we are dry as a bone. And there you have it. We removed the power steering pump and the engine bay looks a lot cleaner. And because, we have all this room now, we can go ahead and change up the radiator and intercooler setup to something that's more efficient. We're also going to try and remove this because that seems unnecessary. There's a lot of stuff that's not necessary in this engine bay. We are still waiting for more parts to come in so that we can continue with this project. It's a very slow go process, and that's okay, right? Like we got more stuff to work on, but this is kind of, like we said in the beginning, a long-term project. We want to take our time, and parts are taking its time to come in. So we'll update you on the next video. Oh yeah, and don't forget our live stream Mondays. I hope you guys have been enjoying it. This Monday is going to be Ben Thorne and his RX7. So if you have any comments or questions on the RX7, feel free to ask them when we go live. Until then, see you there.